right, welcome to day 36 of raising funds for world domination. So, continuing on with my daily live streaming series. So I'm still waiting back to hear when the next N13 merits hearing will be. No information on that yet. And what I'm going to try to prioritize, I guess over the next little while, is just getting to in the next main, what do you call it, major minor version release of the terminal block mining game. So recently I've made quite a bit of progress on the whole frame system. So you can actually build like generic frames that actually work in independent threads, and they can write to the screen. Throughout the day I'm working on whatever random stuff. I'm going to try to get back to actually making new videos. Today I actually worked on, I made the, people have actually started to discuss things in the Discord. So there's a subscriber who, he set up a Discord. I actually don't really use Discord at all, but a long time ago, I just made a Discord account and set up a server, but there was no one in it. So today I actually thought about like some moderation policies, stuff like that. So I think probably what I'll do for a Discord is I'll have my own Discord server and just like link to some other people who actually want to maintain and moderate those. And then as long as, other people's moderation policies are reasonable and there's nothing crazy going on there, then I'll just kind of outsource that. And that helps to kind of, federate the community of people who are interested in my content. So might as well just continue on with where we picked up yesterday. So Hareth Brian says, hello again. World domination. Wait, what? Wait, what about what? I'm not sure. Do you have a series about SE Linux? I have 2 videos on some SE Linux commands. I have... So I have a video on the runcon command and the chcon command. And I have, I think it might have actually been a live stream that I did quite a while ago. If you search my live streams for like SE Linux, there might be one where I talked about it a little bit. I did get into in like a kind of offline. I didn't make any videos about this, but I did get a bit into some of the commands. Actually, if you check my, I can't remember if I documented these or not. If you check my blog, if you check Robert Elder Software blog for the runcon and chcon commands, there were a couple other commands that I learned about. I don't know if I might have documented them. If I did document them somewhere, it's there. But I found those commands very useful for figuring out. I thought SE Linux was actually pretty interesting. I would like to do a video on it because it's more. From what I understand, and I'm not that experienced with it, but to me it seems like the concept of like a policy violation, the information you get about a policy violation is exactly this, is identical to what you need to actually it could be transformed into something you can use to actually create the policy in the first place. So what you can almost do is you can just like have a really restrictive policy, and then you can run a program, see what policies it violates, and then check the logs, and then use that to just give incrementally more permissions, and then just keep running it until whatever use case you get actually runs without violating the policy. And from the YouTube talks I watched on it, they said with SE Linux, basically, whenever you have a policy violation, that policy violation is either a bug in SE Linux, or it is it's an indication of a compromise. So it's kind of SE Linux is kind of useful as both a security system, but also as like a sensing intrusion detection system. Because in a lot of cases, with like, the way the status quo for a lot of software is that if you check logs, there's like tons and tons of like permission denied, access violations and stuff like that. Whereas in SE Linux, it's more I don't know, like I don't know about it in practice, but it kind of sounds like it would make more sense to run with like clean logs, and you'd actually check the logs quite a bit. And the fact that you can do much more fine-grained policy rules for things like loading a shared library, and like it's hooked into the kernel. I'm going to read 90 pages of doc. Do you think that is a good idea? Doc on SE Linux? Maybe. From Red Hat. So many times you'll get 4 or 3 errors with websites and so many others. Does it have bugs? SE Linux, you mean? I'm not sure. I'm sure there's individual versions that may have bugs. Daniel Dyer says, "Hello, Robert. How's it going?" All right, let's test out what I think is working now. So I can do open a frame, open a help menu frame, and now I can actually do, so I can rotate the splits around. And it actually works pretty well. Thank you for your knowledge. No problem. Apologies if this has been covered. How would you rule the world? Would you be a king or other form of government? So I have a long form video where I talked about my most recent long form video. That's where I talked about building a brand new society up in northern Canada on an uninhabited island up there. I probably I was kind of thinking of just like copy and paste, all Canadian law, and then just like modify it as I go. What does the crown mean? Channel number? So it's a new feature they added like in the last couple of days on live streams, and it has something to do with your like chat participation rate or something. I think it's something to like try and manipulate people into like doing more super chats or something, or to like I don't know, to encourage people to participate in the chat more. But I don't know how it works, because everyone's rank seems to go up and down kind of randomly. Yeah, when I clicked on like there's a up at the top, like over beside where it says like top chat, on mine, when I click on that, it says like participate in the community by chatting, and like also do a super chat. So I don't know, that doesn't seem like a very good reward to pay money just to get a little icon beside your name. All right, that's working pretty good again. Do you recommend Podman? Oh, sorry, I can't. Screen's kind of blurry. Podman or Docker? I don't know anything about. Is that see? I can't. It's hard to read that. The chat icon is so bright it like blurs over the. Podman. I think it says Podman or Docker. I've never heard of the first one. Docker seems like the standard containerization, but there's other forms of containerization as well, depending on your performance criteria. try maybe playing Long Nights, Chillwave, Synthwave. YouTube strikes everything down for copyright stuff, so I probably won't bother with music. I think that's one of the that also happens on Twitch, but Twitch's content ID system is not as good. So yeah, it is like it probably is like copyright free music and stuff like that, but a ton of that stuff is like it's like fake copyright free, or it's like what someone will do is they'll like steal a whole bunch of copyrighted music, and then they'll just be like copyright free music, and then they'll like even people who don't own it will like file a copyright claim against you and stuff. So it's easier just not have music. Sorry, did not know that. Yeah, it's no harm, no foul. Yeah, the content ID stuff is it's pretty annoying. It's also, even my last shorts video, where actually that was one video I've completely avoided any copyrighted content up until now. But that was the last shorts video I did. That was the first one I used an actual copyrighted song, and I had like finished it and edited it and stuff. And I know other people have used it, so I thought I would just upload it as a shorts, it'll be fine. Or like I have to like go to some music library or something to select it, and but I actually I edited in with the original song. When I uploaded it, I got a copyright thing and said that this video is blocked worldwide. So I was like, oh geez, I spent so much time on this, and then I started reading about it. And so I have to re-edit the video. I have to upload it from my phone, and then I also have to like use this stupid editor on my phone to use their version of the song, and it limits you to like a 1 minute snippet of it, and I have to like align it using their stupid editor. And it was also a different version of the song, so it was sped up 10%. So I had to re-render the video to actually speed it up a bit so it matched the song. I had to look it up. Epidemic sound is what most creators use for video and streaming. Yeah, I probably could look into one of those, but I don't know. I may just stick with no music, because there's always the chance that like in 2 years from now, suddenly that thing that was copyright free or whatever is like they just copyrighted or something, or some license expires, and then they're like, oh, now every single one of the things you have done is taken down forever. Have you, Robert, ever worked with Redis? And I would like to learn from your experience. If so, would you tell me how would you approach it? Redis, I forget it. That's a database, if I remember correctly. I haven't used it. Yes, but in memory. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've worked on projects that where someone else used it, and then they were transitioning to an actual like SQL database, but I have not used it personally. Friday is my favorite day of the week. You get full library for fixed subscription. YouTube Sound Library is your safest. I don't know. I don't know if it really adds that much. Maybe I'll have to maybe I'll compose my own music. I'll make my own. Maybe on Bash command that composes some music. Isn't Redis mainly used for caching? Yeah, I've been away from that stuff for a while, but that vaguely sounds right to me. Okay, that works. I'm gonna make those messages all synchronous. Let's see. It's nice to be able to do late night code alongs with someone. Thanks for doing the streams. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I guess sometimes this is just an experiment doing this. Some days I'm like, it's like, what exactly is the purpose of this? It's pretty boring to just sit and watch someone do streams, but it seems like there's a niche market for it. And I guess, like someone said, it's a Friday night. Completely forgot about that. Also, after Reddit's pulled the license thing, a lot of people abandoned it. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why I haven't heard as much about it. It's too bad. I had a high opinion of it. It was even robust under malloc failures. Yeah, that's the life cycle with a lot of software. If it's like a venture capital funded thing, then the venture capital fund will kind of pump the open source software basically to gain market share. It's like effectively the free software is like it's free marketing to get people into it, and then once people start using it, then they can roll out all the paid plans and stuff. And I guess Yoshi Kanch said they pulled the license thing. I don't remember what license thing that was, but I'm betting it's some kind of predatory. Once the venture capitalists were like, okay, we're done investing in this, we need to like squeeze money out of it. They probably just like did something super hostile to squeeze as much money as possible out of it, and then everyone's like, oh, this is terrible, and then they abandoned it. Now I got the streaming notification. You've only been streaming for 30 minutes. It's random. Yeah, I know some people schedule theirs, but I have not been able to develop a consistency. Every day my day is a bit different. I end up something sidetracks me, or okay, those were synchronous messages now. Now I don't know if I have other ones that still return null here. Let's test it. Discord gang always gets consistent notification on time. Oh yeah, I guess that's why you guys are always here to declare that you're first. Now I hope I don't end up with more deadlocks. I've got a whole bunch of stuff to like multiplex through this console radar thread class. I'm running Rust while I have the stream on in the background, knowing I'm not the only one spending my Friday nights in front of the terminal. And there's probably a lot of people out there in front of a terminal. Thoughts on Canada becoming 51st state? Have you asked that question before? There's someone that keeps. There's at least a few people that ask that question. Okay, so the next thing I need is I'd rather be in front of a terminal than a lot of other places. Yeah, it's the world is becoming a dangerous place. It's becoming one of the more preferable places to be. I guess what we want is so we have this way of sending information about the dimensions of the frame through this. And it's not really thread safe. So I think in the frame dimensions change workout, I might need to I'm gonna need to add something. So it actually asks for this information, and there's eventually I have to add some like locking, basically. So basically, threads. If the terminal dimensions change, then it'll have to block. Because otherwise, the screen gets all messed up when you're changing the terminal size. Actually, I think I'll probably have a couple different race conditions here. Not gonna happen. It's like saying thoughts on Mexico becoming 51st state, different country. Won't happen without a lot of bloodshed. Are going to add scantily clad women to the game. That's a decent idea, but I think the graphics mode of the terminal is quite limited for that. But I don't know. I guess you can stretch your imagination a lot with ASCII art. As for Canada becoming 51st state, I mean, technically, like, I don't think there's any functional reason for the U.S. to do that, because the U.S. already gets everything they want from us. We sell them energy at like, 1/3 of what it's worth, 30% of what it's worth, and they refine it a bit and sell it and make a lot of money. By the way, you could turn the entire Commonwealth against the U.S. That's 2.7 billion people. I don't know. I think the U.S. has such an advantage militarily over Canada. Like there's some war analyses. Like people pose the hypothetical question, like, what if the U.S. declared war on Canada, actual military war, and the asymmetry is like it's even greater than like Russia against Ukraine. And I don't think we'd have as much like the practicality of other nations supporting us. Like I think Europe could support us. They could send thoughts and prayers, but like the ability to ship tanks and stuff like that, and how much like a military analysis, and the conclusion was basically like within 24 hours the U.S. could take over basically all Canadian airports, and there would be it wouldn't be much of a fight. I think they just want us to like do what we're supposed to and contribute to NATO. They'd hurt themselves in the process. They rely on bases in other countries for their military might. They do, but they've also there's a lot of there's a lot of military in the mainland. Like the everything I've heard about the Canadian military is it's like borderline impossible to join the Canadian military, even if you want to. Makes sense for Alberta to join the U.S. Yeah, I think realistically it does. If you don't mind me asking, how do you get money to sit in your room and just ponder world domination? Historically, I've been running. Well, if you watch my video, how to become a 37-year-old broke loser, then I'll answer a lot of questions about my last 10 years, what I've been doing. I decided to start a one-man software consulting business 10 years ago, and I have concluded that there's simply no market for that due to reasons I explained at length in many of my videos. And so recently I've pivoted more towards just content creation. And so the latest 36 days of live streaming have just kind of been an experiment to live stream a bit more to see how much revenue that brings in. I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag. At first there was a few more, there was a larger number of super chats. Overall revenue for the channel has been falling down a reasonable amount in the last, over the last month or so. But it's, I don't know. There's some days when there's quite a few super chats, but then and like lots of people joining and stuff like that, and other days when kind of nothing happens. So, do you think as a dev, a network engineer, use both sides and get paid more? The more knowledge you have, theoretically, the more money you should be able to make. Certainly, if you know lots about both of those things, then you can do better on interviews and impress people more. But it all depends. Can you get the right position? Victor Vaughn sends, I guess, what is that? A lizard and a wavy hand. How's it going? Hey Bob, just stopped in to say hello. Have a great night. Thank you for the kind words. you need a sponsor. I've heard companies start reaching out around the 100K matrix mark, but maybe it's different depending on category. They also demand him to make more videos. Yeah, I'm making as many videos as I can, but there's so many real world things like that I can't neglect. Like I've got to do taxes. That's going to take an enormous amount of time. I was going to do a little bit of that today, but I didn't even do any of it. What did I even do today? I worked on, I wrote the post for the Discord thing. Actually, I finished the work I did in the block game yesterday. I was going to package it up and push it, but I found a bug in it, and then that bug took a bunch of time. So I worked on that a lot. But I think I'm getting close to being the thing is, I've been working on this game, the recent changes on it for a while, so it's like it's all right in my head and I can fix it quickly. But once I like package this up and ship it and then stop working on it for like a month, then I'll totally forget everything, and it's gonna take a lot longer. I honestly, I do actually get like tons and tons of like sponsorship scam stuff. I would actually say I get probably more things that I get more like obviously phishing emails for sponsorships than I do like I think legit sponsorships, and the actual quote unquote legit sponsorships of people cold reaching out to me are like so garbage, like they're totally unrelated. And I know a bunch of those are just be like this really, if you think about those, the worst sponsorship ads you've seen on YouTube, where someone will be required to be like, oh yes, I love this mobile game, look, it's really cool, and then you get a free thing, you get a free battleship, and look at here, and this is so cool, it's so fun, I play with my friends. And they'll like put all this stuff in the script, and they're like, you absolutely have to say all this stuff, you cannot say anything bad about our product. And it's all these like 25 bullet points, and it's so burdensome. And the compensation is, I don't know, I think there's some of those that are some of the lucrative ones, but then a bunch of them turn out to be scams. Like I think the honey was one of those, the ones that actually paid pretty well, but then everyone's like, hey, what's this business model of this? Just seems like strange. They just give you money for free. And then it turned out they were basically just like defrauding. They were defrauding people on affiliate links. You don't want to sell your soul and lie by omission. And TLS about TLS by doing VPN ads. There are a decent sponsor that don't ask for crazy stuff. PCB Way sponsor small tech channels, for example. Yeah, I was kind of actually if I should probably like advertise this a bit more. Honestly, what I would kind of like to do, I would honestly like more like every once in a while that like there's someone who sends me a super chat, and like Google someone, it's like someone who has like a small indie video game or something, or like someone who has a small GitHub project or something, and I'd have to figure out like some kind of terms of service for what I can guarantee people. But there's people who like will just super chat me, $20 or $50 or something, and they don't expect anything in return, but they're also like, they're just interested in open source and stuff, but they have projects. So I thought like, if these people are willing to give me money with no strings attached, what if I maybe had a model where I don't know if I could just like give people a little bit of attention, like just make some like have like instead of irrelevant VPN ads, have like a sponsored stream that's sponsored by some people who did super chats, who like have some open source projects or something. They just want to advertise for $20, or maybe even like people want to advertise something else. Like if people want to advertise Arch Linux or something, and then I could take money to advertise just some good community project that's interesting. This is just an idea, but I'd have to figure out like what are the terms of this. So if you contribute such and such an amount, because it'd be disappointing if people don't get what they're looking for, then they'll get very angry. AG1 Greens just took number 1. Congratulations. Yeah, how come everyone else's crown disappeared? I don't really understand the how their algorithm works for those crowns. The Cherno does code reviews, if that's something you could look into. He's focused in game engines and reviews user-made ones. Yeah, there's it'd also be kind of there's a lot of people. A lot of people are already doing this stuff like basically for free, but if I can, could also turn the. I would much prefer like shielding and going on for like an absurdly long time to advertise someone's like, personal, like someone's open source project or something like that, or something that's kind of like, it's where you're not like, you're not really annoyed by the content. It's actually serves the niche. And there's a lot of like small time entrepreneurs out there who just don't have enough money for a big marketing budget. And I think they don't really, there's not even any, they kind of want to advertise, like they want to get their feet wet, like learning how to market stuff. And they don't know like where would you even advertise. Like to buy a Facebook ad or something, it costs, $1,000 to get any kind of reasonable amount of traffic. You could do a showscape and code review. It would also be helpful for you as well to learn more. Yeah, there's I don't know, I think there's some kind of market there. Maybe I have to think a bit more about how to that's a problem. Indie devs have no money for ads. Companies sell products have money. Yeah, I think for like small indie devs and stuff, I think for them it could be nice to just have like, give $5 to just like, self promote, be like, hey, I have this game, looking for some feedback or something. Like even just to get a couple people to try your thing is enough. But then I guess, I don't know, there's Maybe there's some places to show that stuff on Reddit or anywhere. Game Dev Chad says, cheers, how's it going? You could probably better value by reviewing and highlighting cool indie and open source projects in your channel. Yeah, I'd have to, I mean, there'd be demand in like doing that for free. I guess it's, there's kind of two things. I don't quite know how to connect them well, or like how to pitch them, because there's people who just do super chat. They'll who've given like really big super chats. I'm like, oh wow, that's really that's very generous for people to give a big super chat. That's and they don't ask for anything in return, and they don't expect anything in return. I'm like, but I could give people some attention for. Even though it's like 16 users, but I guess the VOD gets like 1,000 or something. But I wouldn't even mind even just kind of like keeping them in mind, or like whenever the next time I have a video that really pops off and gets like starts trending or something, or I can do the daily community posts actually get quite a bit of impressions. So I have an ability to reach at least a few people if the content is actually relevant. Audience will give money without asking for anything because they want to support you. You'll find it hard to sell this as a service. Memberships is better bet to monetize the audience. Yeah, it's still though I want to if people give me money, I want to make sure I'm actually given something. There's like some incremental. There's like things I can do to give back a bit that also don't necessarily cost me that much. Is if someone has like a super cool, interesting project, I could just make a community post about it, and that's easy. But it's also like actually if it's relevant enough, it's also content, so people like to see that. You give advice all the time. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily move the bottom line. Advice is easy to come by. There's tons of people spewing stuff on YouTube, but I think if you are starting a business, one of the main things is just like getting those initial few eyeballs and people giving feedback on your stuff. What the heck is the title? It's just my plans to raise financing for world domination. It's just what it says. How is this going to help? How is what going to help? World domination means world domination. How this going to help world domination means? I don't know. Do you have a question? Harry Gould says, yo, how's it going? Monetizing content is hard. There must be a balance between value extracted versus value produced. Yeah, I think there's, I mean, with the right batch, there's like stuff I could do. Like if someone's some indie developer on like, if it's, you know, niche enough, like some person developing a terminal-based something or other, I can make a community post about it, and it's like, if it provides value to me, and it also provides value to the, so it's not necessarily zero sum. Man, I've never ever seen such fundraising. Yep, someone's got to do it. Oh, you're no longer number one. So now, I guess the YouTube algorithm, some AI has determined to demote you so that you become competitive. That's how they suck you in, get you to chat more. Nice. Thank you very much for the $20 from Game Dev Chat. Two times coffee. That's more than 2 coffees here in Canada. I would watch videos, reviews, highlights of indie projects you personally find cool. I would hit the like button. Yeah, I guess I could do that. Yeah, there's a few I have in mind. Yeah, I'll have to add it to the to-do list. There's too many things going on, too many projects. How the guys? Oh, how the guys going to help you? Like, what does your states people know about this process you are involved in right now, dear? Your friends or neighbors? In the world domination process? So far, people are pretty supportive. Someone saying indie project, what is? Indie projects are usually like small independent projects. So it's usually people use the term like indie video games, where normally video games, like if you want to make a popular video game, it's like millions of dollars to build a video game. But then there's people who try to build their own video games and stuff with no funding, or people just do it in their spare time. So it's like much lower budget, done by like independent individuals often, or like maybe small teams with little to no funding. So that's what indie means. Indie project. We have every security service in the chat. Keeping an eye on this man. That's good. I can recruit them to work for me. My entire coffee maker was $13 brand new. Okay, dear. Excellent. Glad you learned a bit about indie development. Indie dev equals Schedule 1 game. Yeah, I heard that was that's the latest popular thing these days. Schedule 1 has like 400k concurrent players. It was made by one man. Wow. That must have made some good money. Just look up the game. I'm also an indie dev, but building a procedural trading system. Not game dev. Procedural trading. That was my original ambition. I was going to before I came to university, that was my ambition, was to write a trading bot, and then I would trade my way to making millions of dollars. And then I wrote so much software that I decided that I should probably get a degree in software engineering, because it kept crashing. And then I got my degree in software engineering. I actually worked at a Forex market maker. And then when I saw how the sausage was made, I decided that as a retail trader, you kind of stand no chance. And then I have not returned to that vision since. Retail wins by going long. Yeah, I think if you're an independent individual, unless you have, some really sophisticated thing going on, you're probably better off to just, buy an index. That's why I use Rust. Memory safety is a must. Building on Web3. Atomicity and smart contracts. Guaranteed profits kind of system. Yeah, I think writing a trading bot, I would probably write it in Java, I guess, because I'm more familiar with it. But over time, I think memory safety is probably the least of your problems for a trading bot. Like you're going to need some really. Well, I'll tell you how. If I was actually going to try to do it, I don't know if you've seen Patrick Boyle on finance. He has a popular YouTube channel, and he has a couple books that he published, statistics for the trading floor, and maybe a couple other ones. And if I was actually going to try to do that again, I would probably buy those books and read them, and also just learn a lot about the mathematics of signal processing and stuff, and go into and leverage some of that stuff. And I'd probably start. I think where there's probably a bit of inefficiency in the market is if you can figure out how to use leverage AI to do some kind of sophisticated sentiment analysis. There's probably a bit of signal, statistically significant stuff. I don't know if you can find the right source and stuff, but I would imagine there's probably 10 million people who are doing the exact same thing right now. So you'd have to do it smart enough that you're actually getting some statistical advantage. I guarantee you that it's tons of people who are doing this, and probably only some of these people. I guarantee you there's thousands of people who are doing this right now, and only a small percentage of them are actually going to be successful and make money at it. What are your thoughts on mechanical engineering? I don't know. I don't really have strong thoughts on it. I know it's a much more classical engineering. I think if you go into mechanical engineering, it makes more sense to get your your official engineering certification. So I'm with my undergraduate degree. So I have my iron ring. I can become a licensed engineer and practice engineering as a profession. But it doesn't make sense for software engineering. Very few software engineers actually become professional engineers. For mechanical engineer, I think it would be way more important and actually useful for that. I don't know what the job market is like. I think 10 years ago, software engineering was absolutely the right choice when I chose it. But nowadays, I don't know, mechanical engineering might have been the better choice. Software seems pretty crowded these days. Love Patrick. What I'm doing is very different. Crypto, smart contracts, arbitrage, and front running. Not predicting anything pure. AMM math. Well, if you can, if there's some arbitrage you can take advantage of. Back in the day, I in 2013, 14 or so, I had like, I bought Bitcoin. It was $200. I sold some of it when it was around it was around $1,000 or something, and I kept around $200 in crypto, and then I diversified it across a bunch of different exchanges, and then I spent my distraction from university that year was day trading cryptocurrency, and long story short is I stopped when a bunch of my coins, I was completing the arbitrage loop on one exchange, and a bunch of the coins, the blockchain forked, and I was on the bad fork, so just all the coins disappeared into the ether, and then my coins were diversified across 4 different exchanges, and every single exchange got hacked, and so literally all of the coins got lost. And that was back when I had a bunch of I traded myself at like $200 of Dogecoin, and so I lost all that. That was in like 2013 or something, right before the run up of Dogecoin. So I don't know how much that would have been worth, but probably some insane amount of money. In other words, MEV. I'm not familiar with that abbreviation. What is happening right now is I'm doing work on my block mining game. Testing if resize works. Let's see. Open new frame. All right, it works. I just trade options on the regular market. Tough but rewarding. Yeah, it's you can make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money. Most chains are trying to eliminate MEV as it hurts the chain. Hooked up to broker API and use AI tooling to have an extra eyes on things during the day. Yeah, if I had lots of money, like that'd be a kind of fun. That was my original pipe dream, was to get into that, but the cash to trade that stuff never materialized. Given what I learned about it, I think it's pretty competitive. Manual arbitrage is dead. Yeah, I would. I don't know, any kind of like arbitrage, I'm also skeptical of it because there are cases where you can say it's arbitrage, but there's like risk premiums for everything. So you could say, oh, it's arbitrage, it's free money, but what is the risk? What is the probability that it's not free money? What's the probability of some divergence in the correlation between something, or the inherent risk of the exchange getting hacked, or some kind of thing. There's always some kind of thing ready to rob you of your money. Diversified to 4 separate exchanges and all hacked. That must have been depressing as hell. It was only around $200, so I all in all I'm up on crypto. I bought. Actually, that was before when I bought. Like, people look back at the chart of Bitcoin and they say, man, I wish I bought Bitcoin when it was back at 2 cents or whatever. But when I bought it at $200, I didn't even know where to buy it. I just gave $200 in cash to a friend who bought it somewhere, and he just had to go to a bank teller and deposit the money in some sketchy account. then like some person would meet up with them, and it was and then the bank teller was like, oh, this sounds pretty sketchy. And then so I never actually had it in my possession. He just had it for a while, and I just told him to sell it. And I think that the value of the crypto was like $200 at the time. Maximum extractable value. Just why though? Why what? Set of guarantees atomicity, so no risk. All to nothing. Well, I hope so. There's as long as you're not betting the farm on it every time. There's always like weird extraneous things that can break or clearance things, or even exchanges can like reach into your account and like reverse the trades. They could just say, oh, you actually don't have this money. Where are you from? I am from Ontario, Canada. I was buying Bitcoin at $3. That must have been a while ago. Why world domination? I figured if I can just take over the world, then I can just fix all the problems in the world. Yeah, it's preferable to being dominated. Yeah, that's the main thing I want. I don't really want to be in control. I just want freedom from being controlled. All right, I'll give you that. Yep, I think it's a pretty good justification. Okay, that solved one race condition. Oh, that's not good. That was strange. $2012. I already bet and lost a lot on markets. If one of the transactions fail or revert, all of them revert. Well, I guess if you've been at it this long, then you probably are way more experienced than I am. Anyone here familiar with multi-bit? Never heard of it. That was a strange bug. Oh, interesting. That is probably because one of the threads is blocked. Defunct wallet from around 2014 that's locked with over 300 Bitcoin through bad encryption methodology, but it's solvable. Neat. Sounds like a fun puzzle. Been working on it for a solution for 2 years now. Still nothing. I have a wallet with 1.2 BTC. In it locked to the issue. Bought 10 Bitcoin when it was $3. A few months later, it was 300. Got back into 2015. Crazy. These lack of switch statements and ternary operators hurt my soul. Yeah, I do use a lot of ternary operators. I do have some switch statements in other places. So I think my issue is related to I'm shutting down one of the threads, so there's another thread that is, I think, blocked on the console writer thread now, because I changed those messages to be blocking. So now it's now the console writer thread is, I think, getting shut down before it has a chance to respond and unlock the other thread to allow it to shut down gracefully. There are people who can help unlock wallets, but they take a decent bounty. This is specifically an issue with padding in the AES CBC KDF function. Need some quality reverse engineering. I tried everything from bit phishing. Sliding windows. That sounds like a fun academic problem and fun homework assignment. Maybe a shutdown please message, so it will naturally be graceful. Yeah, I could do something like that. It seems to me there's some reason why I didn't do that. I can't remember why. I think for some of the threads I don't, they can have a queue of messages that's like full, and I still want to interrupt I don't want it to like wait to process that message. And I think, yeah, in the case when the message queue fills up, you can't send it a message. He calls 120,000 a fun homework assignment, or I guess I don't know if that's enough zeros. 1.2 million, 1.2 million. Can you close the queue and have it stop when it runs out of messages? There's multiple things I could do. I'm just thinking about like, how do I do this in the simplest way possible that doesn't make my code more insane? I'm also just going on intuition. I think this is the issue. Actually, if it's blocked, it shouldn't even... interrupting it should still make it interrupt. How would bit flipping or shifting do anything to AES if you're exploiting a weakness in padding? Yeah, this is some like other famous person that like publish their details of their wallet or something. You really need to know the initial parameters to have any hope. Like it could be on a wild goose chase. Not exploiting a weakness, the encryption is lacking padding and compensating. So corrupted bytes. Okay. 1.2 BTS is what I have in my wallet. Terror says $5. How about $3.50? IDK, if you have URL filters on, probably. I have whatever the default filter thing is on. People have said that when they try to type URLs, it doesn't work. Go ahead and get a coffee. Thanks for the stream. Have an amazing night, all. Have a good night. Thank you for the $20, the additional $20. It's a worthwhile goose chase. It'd also be a fun way to troll people. Just go into like random places and be like, hey, here's this encryption problem. You'll get 1,000,000 Bitcoin if you solve it. Yeah, that'd be a nice lottery ticket. Wouldn't waste my time if it was. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the AES algorithm, so no insights from me. AES is there's like what is it? There's 128, 256 bit. I don't know what the difference is between them. If it's like block size or rounds or something. Finds a guy with a head on his shoulders, not a cyberpunk. R.I.P. Yeah, it's interesting. I would love to, if I had time to waste, I wouldn't mind digging into that. Actually, I might have like some couple projects where I was going to try to like really deep learn some hash functions and like learn about like all the hash collision attacks and stuff. But it's just not. I need to. The thing is, I need the money. I need that money beforehand so I can waste all the time messing around with that stuff. I have a few videos on the SHA hash functions. Making those taught me quite a bit about it, but in the internals of those functions. Okay, threads and variables. Where are... Oh, I guess I got a breakpoint. Pause. Threads and variables. So we got all these. Console writer thread. Okay, now, so we'll run. Let's open help menu. Quit. And now it will deadlock. We'll pause. And what threads are still active? So we got UI work item, and that is just as I expected. Interesting. So thread.interrupt does not wake it up from this. I like to be a sysdev or open source contributor, but I am in a very hard situation, and I can now only focus on finding a job as a dev. I'm 20. Don't have a choice. There's no one who will do that for me. Yeah, it's difficult if you don't have the time. That's what everyone is doing these days. Everyone's focusing all their money on the rat race just to pay rent. People wanted to buy landfills to dig for hard drives. They threw away 12 years ago. I've been coding for 25 years without an income. You'd have better luck at McDonald's. That's a long time to be coding without an income. If you're going to try, work smarter, not harder. That's my only advice. And don't vibe code. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm trying to do, but the big problem is there's so much so much of our economy is just like everything's falling apart. Everything is like scams and fraud and like nonsense. Even just trying to live in an apartment is becoming difficult. All right, so that is just as I expected. Everyone wants a job. Nobody wants to work. I don't know. There's a lot of problems in the whole job market. The value exchange is starting to deteriorate. I hate vibe coding. Use ChatGPT only if it explains some concepts. I've been trying to vibe code more, but I haven't found any. Well, I just haven't had the time to mess around with it yet. I have occasions where I've spikes of financial well-being, but it's short-lived, and everyone wants to be a coder these days. Makes it harder when you have everyone doing the same thing. Average pay here is about $400, and the rent is on average also $400. So I don't know if McDonald's with $400 will do, but programming jobs here start with $1,000. $400 the rent is pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. The best advice, I think it really depends on like where you are and opportunities available and things are, and also life situations. If you have a family you can tolerate staying with for a bit. Interesting. This thing does not wake up from the put blocking work item. If I don't have a choice, I will work as NOC. Yeah, you seem pretty legitimately interested in your craft. Do you have any credentials? Do you have any degrees or certificates or undergraduate stuff? If you have any of that can help you out. I mean, it also depends on like where you are and like where you can work. If you want to maybe go somewhere else. Like I mean, being here in Canada, at least they used to. I don't know what it is like today, but it was very easy to get if you had a degree, getting the J1 visa to go down to the States. That was the pathway that a lot of people did. And for full-times, it was the H1B. But I'm not sure if that's still how easy that is to do. Now, if you're in over in Europe somewhere, or things might be different. I know Poland is doing really well. There's a lot of tech startups in Poland. Their economy is kind of booming. I'm half Ukrainian, half Palestinian, so I may try Europe. Yeah, it also depends, like where you are, like what citizenship you have, and what kind of visas you can get. I'm gonna head off for today. Nice to meet you. Also, here are some food for thought. Class references. Cross reference the threads with an array. Consider it work item manager. Cross reference the threads with an array. Maybe I have quite a bit of thought put into how the threads and stuff are orchestrated. It mostly works. The one thing that's I think is unexpected here is I have a thing to do a blocking message transfer, and it's blocking on receiving the message, but I'm supposed to do thread.interrupt to wake it up, and I would have thought that would wake it up, but there must be something. It should still wake it up to shut it down, but I'll have to look into it. There's probably something in the docs. I know there's some weirdness around thread.interrupt, where I think you can the interruption signal can get lost sometimes. I hear Poland is on the rise. Lots of Polish people in the UK going back home because standards are better, which is ironic. UK fell off that much. Yeah, I've heard lots of bad things about the UK. I'm from Donbass. War started 2014 there. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you have Ukrainian heritage, Poland is probably the place to look for. Everything I've heard from people is that Poland is really on the up and up, and if you're Poland is a border with Ukraine, so you would know better than me about how to end up over there. 11 years, also considering where we're heading. I think I could see a cliff edge coming up. Been here. Here is in the UK, I assume. Include FSM. That way you know the exact state of a thread that you're intending to manipulate. Open, close, idle. Catch you around. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. Let's run that again and inspect the thread state. England since 2014. England is in the UK, if I remember correctly. I have a Ukrainian passport, but here's a problem. Poland will sometimes get Ukrainian men and send them into war. That's no good. Well, I guess if you're are you in Ukraine currently, or are you elsewhere? I don't know. I don't know what the rules are around that stuff, but I just know the place that seems to be booming is Poland. I'm in Jordan. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what the job prospects are in Jordan, but yeah, I know where Jordan is approximately, but I would imagine it's better in Europe, probably in general. Probably best if you can get to Poland, but of course then now you got to move and stuff. So all right, so it's blocking on this. England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Okay. It's always hard to remember the difference between all those places. I'd ideally arrange things to avoid all direct thread management. Everything with queues and messages. Yeah, that's basically what I have so far. The issue with I can't. There's like the poison pill method to shut down a thread, which doesn't work if the thread queue fills up. One of the main reasons I have it this way is because if, like in the case where the thread queue fills up and it crashes, it won't properly shut down and restore the terminal. So that's one of the reasons I had it designed this way. One of the strengths of Go is when you start Go routine, there's no ID or object or anything for it. So you're forced to manage them gracefully. Next to Israel. Yep, it's over in that region. Just shove yourself into foreign countries and you will learn the language. Learning languages is a lot of work. I may also have a race condition in there. It's been a while since I read up on this stuff a lot. Thank God we were still living here, observing his plans on world domination. Being a country that is unlikely to be attacked by foreign forces is a blessing. This man is from Donbass. People think conflict started in 2021. This guy was in the middle of 2014. I assume that's when he left. Yeah, I remember there's a famous YouTuber, that guy, I think his name was like Karasan or something. He did like all these super dangerous things with electricity and stuff. And he was very popular on YouTube. He was from, I think, the Donbass area, and he was popular around that area at that time. That's annoying that it doesn't just wake up this thread. If interrupted while waiting. Why doesn't it get interrupted? So it's in here to work. Catch interrupted exception. I was watching Sputnik and RT at the same time. At the time, they're banned in UK now. Got used to all of that. Lived a semi-normal life. You can create a templated function in Java now. You can do quite a bit of crazy stuff in Java now. Like they're trying to make Java like a functional language. Honestly, I don't even know what the latest features are. I actually just recently got upgraded from Java 17 to 21. I don't even know what the new features are though. I remember generics being in Java 8. I don't know when they were introduced. The generic types differ than C++ generics. Maybe you're conflating interrupt and notify. It's possible. This has worked until now. What are you coding for? I'm doing some user interface improvements to my terminal-based block mining game. Let me think. this might be a bug when that only applies to the thread that's shutting down, or that triggers the shutdown. Quit game. Set is finished. Ever heard of 42 schools? Nope, never heard of that term before. All right, here we are. Let's step into that. I think that's a problem. Yeah. Yes, that is an issue. I think that's the fix. Return. So well, I have to test this to verify, but so the whole idea is this thing says when it's time to finish, this thing tells this block manager thread pool collection shut down all the threads. But the thread that is triggering the shutdown does not interrupt itself, because that doesn't that'll interrupt itself from interrupting the other threads. So the thread that knows that it has to shut down has to shut down gracefully. But what it's doing instead is it continues down to the renderer, so it tries to like do a bunch of stuff. So it's talking to, oh, and yeah, that makes sense, because it's trying to send a message to the console writer thread, which is already shut down. So the correct thing to do is just exit the program instead of, or return from that statement, which returns from this, which returns from the do work function, which should cause a graceful exit from the loop. So let's see if that happens. Let's do that. Let's just quickly test it in here. Unreachable statement 320. They teach how to create your own bash and C on Linux. You are only allowed to use system calls and malloc as exception. System calls and malloc. Interesting. That project maybe took me 4 months. Yeah, that sounds creating your own bash in C. That would be a lot of work. Looked up 42 School. Seems like an awesome nonprofit. Never heard of them before. I'm an hour from London. They seem to have an office there. They're very cool. Their concept of teaching is peer-to-peer. I saw gamified peer-to-peer. You were only allowed to use Linux and Vim and C. So you're using us at the Yellow Duck. Oh, you mean my narration for the debugging? I guess I'm kind of, maybe it's a bit of the reverse. I'm trying to narrate. Honestly, it's actually extra work to talk through what I'm doing and thinking. It's easier just to like do it. But then if I don't talk, the stream is less interesting. I guess it's the point of streaming is to give people some indication of what's going on in my mind. All right, let's see. Will this deadlock? Nice. Let's do it one more time. Yeah, so that was the problem. So when I changed those messages to be blocking, I had to just exit the thread gracefully, like I was supposed to, because that's the whole point of it. Yep, there we go. Yeah, Harith, Rayan. I think you say you're 20 and you're doing writing your own bash in C. I mean, you sound pretty talented. I hope that you can. And you say you're 20 years old and you're in Jordan, and you're trying to get to a better place for programming. I hope you can eventually reach your true potential. Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Do you know? Do you know of Rome? I think his channel name is like NFRKZ or something. Roman, the Russian guy. If you know of that YouTube channel, he talked a bit about his process for getting. So he left Russia, and he went to, I think, Georgia, and he was there for a couple of years, and then he got I think he got an EU visa in Portugal. I think it was Portugal, and then his Portugal visa allowed him to get around in the US. So I don't know. Do you know the guy I'm talking about? There's not a lot of Russian YouTubers who do English content, but yeah, his name is if you Google search for like Roman Russian YouTuber, his channel name is like NFRKZ or something. He went to Portugal, overstayed his tourist visa, and someone got a residence permit. Love Roman, but what he did was dodgy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I assume that whatever he did was legal, but I mean, I personally, I'm very unhappy with the amount of immigration that we've had in Canada in the last few years, but I support, legal immigration of talented people, and it's honestly one of the biggest tragedies of this unmitigated, unfiltered immigration is that there are tons of people out there who we should be letting in, who we now can't let in because we don't have the resources for it. But you could, say if you're trying to get somewhere, just look into do some research on like the visa processes and stuff. Because if you can get to Europe, then your prospects are probably a lot better. And I think in Europe the I don't know, the programmer salaries I don't think are as lucrative as the US, and it's probably still very competitive there. But I mean, you could maybe still continue your programming passion on the side and get into like some kind of technical role, and then it may take you a lot longer than just going to university. You got a visitor visa. There was a delay from COVID. They were behind on applications, so they approved all applications over a certain age. You slipped through the cracks. Well, I mean, if the government, that's the government's problem to. They decide whether they approve it or not. I guess I don't know. Based on what you said, I don't know don't remember the details of the process, but. But if you can figure out the visa process and manage to navigate that, it's I don't any kind of that kind of bureaucracy. It's not easy. Just saying it's not a reliable process. Yeah, I think also immigration sentiment is there are more and more people becoming anti-immigration now. So that's another significant hurdle you'll have to face. But I don't know, it's hard to get ahead in life. Thank you. There are so many people who told that I have to start applying, but I keep telling myself that I still have to learn more. Yeah, I think if you will continue to learn through your entire career. I think if you're doing if you're 20 years old and you're doing you're writing around Bash shell and with syscalls and stuff like that, you probably like you probably don't have a lot of projects under your belt, but you're probably the type of person you could just like stick in a company and say like figure this out, and then eventually you'll figure it out. And if you can get your first job doing something relevant, you'll be able to just learn on the job and take it from there. And of course, having an official degree won't hurt too. There's a lot of things to get a visa or something, or to immigrate somewhere. You need an actual degree. I'm not sure what the prospects are in Jordan. I think there's a lot of refugees there. I don't know. I have no idea what the conditions are like there. How easy it is to get into university there, or if you have a Ukraine passport, there are some countries taking them as refugees. I think here in the UK, they're supposed to return when conflict ends. I have a project that is an entire infra, networking, Linux, some automation, backend. But I don't know how to post that. What do you mean by post? Like a project on GitHub, or? I mean the entire thing, like the code for it. Hi, bro. Do you remember me? All right. Aryan Shajul. Nope. There's a lot of people that come into the chat. Was it recent? Become a member, then they'll remember you. That'll definitely help. No problem. I was asking you your views on Indian immigration that day. I think there are a lot of people that match that description. I assume you probably watched my video on immigration. Maybe you can even become his favorite member. Yeah, I have a favorite member tier. There are 3 people on my favorite member tier. I think it's 3. That's too long, my video. But if you're interested, I spent a lot of time making that video. That was a great video. Yeah, hopefully some relevant people watch it and fix some of the problems we got. The views have really leveled off. Don't you get bored of coding? Not really. Once it works, then you get some a hit of dopamine, and you're like, yes, my program Finally works. Finally achieved my goal. Well, I didn't quite get as far as I thought I would tonight. But I did fix another one of those concurrency issues, and I think there's one more thing I'm going to try and do a message passing thing. I feel the most fun from working with Linux administration. Yeah, there's something about the command line. It's very the feedback is very high quality. Programming is so much fun. It's like a superpower. Yeah, things like this are kind of. I can understand how people don't want to. It's hard to get started, but then once you push through those difficult problems, and you solve that difficult problem you thought that's gonna defeat you, you're never gonna figure it out, and then you do figure it out. Like, not only does it feel good, but it also boosts your confidence. So next time you can push even harder, and then you just keep tackling more and more difficult problems. And well, I'll probably leave it there for tonight, and I will be back tomorrow. I'm 18 and I'll be going to college next year. I don't know which branch to choose. I mean, computer science is good, but I heard that because of AI, it will be in danger soon. Yeah, this is a line of questioning that a lot of people are having as consideration. I don't know. I won't rehash that here tonight, but there's plenty of other people who've given their opinions. Plenty of other videos that cover the topic well. Good night. Here is 7 a.m. Wow, you've been up early. All right, have a good night, guys. Here.